First off, you're going to have to ignore all my messy background because I am not a neat crafter. So what I want to do is just kind of go over a few things that you will want to have when you are making cups, or, you know, even just using the Cricut with the vinyl. First thing I think is absolutely necessary is weeding tools. Okay, this one, you can see it is quite loved. It's glittered and paint, but you don't need to buy one. This was my favorite for a long time. My favorite is now this. It is a homemade weeding tool. So all it is a mechanical pencil, just a sewing needle. If you get a 7mm pencil, a number 7 sewing needle is what you're going to want to use. I don't know if I can get mine apart. I'm not going to take it apart. But you can even have it where it will click in and out so that it is not sharp and that point's not out all the time. So you can make a million of these, you know, a Dollar Tree for the mechanical pencils, and you can probably get the sewing needles at Dollar Tree as well. So $2 and you've got like 5 or 6 of these, and they're fabulous. This is pretty much all I use now to weed all my vinyl out. Something else you're going to need is something to measure your epoxy in. I just use these little medicine cups, and I mean, you can get them on Amazon. I'm trying to think of where exactly I got these, but I got like a whole pack of them, like 100 or something for like 50 cents or $1 or something. So I bought like, I don't know, 6 or 7 packs of them, and it was like $8 plus shipping, and or it was free shipping, something, and I won't run out for a while. You're of course going to need the epoxy of your choice. My jugs are real nasty. I personally use CCDIY artist resin. It's my favorite. I started out using Amazing Clear Cast by Alumilite. I'm gonna put these down because my hands are gonna be just like disgusting. I started out using Amazing Clear Cast by Alumilite. I loved it, had no issues with it, but decided to kind of graduate to something else. Another thing is Mod Podge. I have mine in just some little cheap squeeze bottle from Dollar Tree. Mod Podge is fabulous. You can either glitter your cups with Mod Podge, or you can use epoxy. Either one works wonderfully. Mod Podge is much cheaper. That's what I used when I started learning. And then depending on what kind of cup I'm making, depends on whether I will use epoxy or Mod Podge. It's kind of trial and error. It depends on what you are gonna like and what works for you. Another highly essential, and it's gonna seem very strange, baby wipes. Fabulous for cleaning up any tools. If you happen to get epoxy on something, you know, it just wipes everything right up. Since nitrile gloves, you will definitely need nitrile gloves. These are the ones that are most commonly found in hospitals, not just like those little plasticky, you know, like food grade gloves. They need to be nitrile, otherwise the epoxy can seep through, and epoxy is not good for your skin. It's not good for your lungs if you're breathing it in all the time, so you want to work in a well ventilated area, or wear a respirator mask, which mine is around here somewhere. I don't know where. No clue. It's probably in my closet, or one of my kids has stolen it and is pretending to be Darth Vader. So, so you'll need a respirator mask or work in a highly ventilated area. Glitter, if you want to use glitter, and we'll go over the steps of how to glitter and everything like that. But back to the nitrile gloves. I'm sorry, I have like really bad ADD, and so I skip ahead a lot and go back and rewind. So we're rewinding a second, and we're going to go back to the baby wipes. So since nitrile gloves are in such short supply because of the wonderful pandemic of COVID, I usually just wear one glove while epoxying, and then when I'm done, I will take and wipe my glove off and get all the epoxy off with a baby wipe or two, and then I can reuse my glove several times. That way they last a little bit longer, and I don't have to worry about them as much, or I don't have to worry about running out and not being able to get any. Another thing, two other things that you will, or what I consider must-haves. Coffee filters. I know that sounds kind of strange. Coffee filters are lint-free. Okay? You can actually use them to clean your windows and not get lint. With some Windex or vinegar if you like the more natural. And 99% alcohol. You can get this at Walmart, which is where I get mine. And this little bottle is just from the Dollar Tree. Cute little bottle. And it's for makeup. It's in the makeup section. But I can squeeze, get some alcohol on there. And you can use it to clean your cup. Because what happens is as you touch a cup, it gets horrible, nasty, terrible fingerprints on it and oils from your hands. The epoxy does not like oils from your hands, and so the epoxy will repel, and you'll end up with what's called fish eyes. These terrible little divots, and they can be big and they're horrible, and then you can be on your last coat and you'll have to go back and do another coat. It's just not worth it. So in between, you can always wipe off. Let it dry completely. Like I'll usually let it sit for a good 5-10 minutes just to let all the alcohol evaporate, because sometimes the alcohol does mess with the way the epoxy cures. You want to make sure that your epoxy is completely cured before you ever give anybody a cup. That's I usually let mine sit for 72 hours before I send them out. Once I get that final coat on, it's 72 hours before I ever send one out. Because it needs time to completely cure. And we'll get into that more. And read up on epoxies. Go out to some of the companies, CCDIY, Alumilite. There's several companies, but always read what the manufacturer recommends for your brand of epoxy for cure times and things like that. And that'll be your kind of standard of measure to go on for that. And the other thing that you will want is acetone. Not fingernail polish remover acetone. This you will get from from Lowe's. Harbor Freight has it, I'm sure. Maybe, I don't know if they carry it or not. Home Depot, places like that. Ace Hardware, I know, would have it. Places like that. It's going to be in a big can, and it is pure acetone. It's a stripper. You can use it to make geodes and things like that. You can use it to distress a cup like the one that I've kind of been holding up. And it is most helpful if you make a cup and you don't like it and you're like, this is just, it's terrible. You don't have to chunk the whole cup. These stainless steel cups can be expensive. And if you mess up, you don't want to just throw it away. You can wrap your cup in paper towels soaked in acetone and then aluminum foil and put it in a Ziploc bag. Or you can do what I do and prefer to do is have a big bucket. So I have a big, like, gallon, huge, one of those huge buckets from Home Depot. It's orange. And I just pour about this much acetone in it, set my cup down in there, Just set it in, and then you just let it sit for, I usually let it sit for a couple days, and then it's good to go. So you'll need stainless steel tumblers. Starting out, I just went to Walmart and bought mine. I use the Ozark brand. Or Built has tumblers that you can use. And normally they're $5 or $6, $8. And it's not a bad price just for something to start out with. If you ever get to where you're making tumblers more regularly and selling them and things like that, I do buy mine from a few different companies. There's Steel Magnolia company. There is Craft Haven, and I guess those are pretty much the only two that I really like. Steel Magnolia, their lids are awesome. They're my favorite lids. But as far as quality of stainless steel tumblers, they're both awesome. I wouldn't use Yeti. It is way too much money and not worth it, in my opinion. You can also use acrylic cups, but if you do, you can use them for practice. You can get them at the Dollar Tree and practice away. It's $1 and just throw them away once you're done. I wouldn't suggest epoxying them and giving them to people unless they are a double-walled acrylic, which means, you know, kind of like the big Starbucks acrylic cups where they have the inner part that holds your drink, and then they have the outer part so that it doesn't sweat. You can get those at the Dollar Tree as well. You can find them everywhere for pretty cheap. Amazon has some. So that's, if you get those, it's a less of an investment. You don't have to charge as much for your cups, and it's less money out of your pocket in the beginning. So, and then as far as prepping tumblers, okay, sandpaper. You can sand your tumblers. A lot of tumbler makers, almost everyone in the community, will tell you that you have to prep your tumbler. And to properly prep a tumbler, you must sand it down. I've done both ways, where I sand and I don't sand. I haven't seen a difference. Some tumbler makers, you know, say that they don't prep and everything is fine and they don't see any issues. They've been making tumblers for 3 years, whatever. And then I always prime my tumblers with paint, with spray paint. You can also use acrylic paint. The little apple barrel, I think they're like big bottles like this for $1 at Walmart. You can paint your cups whatever color with acrylic paint. And if you use acrylic paint, I've seen people paint and then put the glitter right on top of it and let it dry because it's sticky and tacky and wet, and once it dries, the glitter is stuck to it. I am not that brave, and my painting acrylic paint looks horrible. And I know it's just going under the glitter, but it's still just, it bothers me. So I use spray paint, and I use a flat white primer and a flat black primer, both from Rust-Oleum. They're matte. It sticks to the cup. If I use Mod Podge, it's got something to grip onto because it's matte. I'm not real big on gloss paints, but they work. I would probably say 90% of the time I spray paint mine white, just because it's easy. So no matter what kind of tumbler I'm going to do, whether it's a light or a dark, it's fine. I ran out of white, so it's flat black tonight. You want to spray. You don't want to like you keep your finger down and spray. Short bursts, about 12 inches away. So, and just keep spinning the tumbler and you will get it coated. Try not to stay in one spot for too long. And then that's how you're gonna go and get the no drips. It takes some practice. My dad used to make me spray paint all the time and I hated it, and so I'm used to it. But practice. You can take a piece of cardboard and try a few, motions. I've heard people get the nozzles for the spray paint. I don't have one. So I just get paint all over my fingers, I'm all painty, and just spray paint. So now that we've covered just about everything that you're gonna need, what I'm gonna do is just Mod Podge this cup right here and put a layer of glitter on. Okay, and we're gonna see what that looks like and what that process is. Another thing that is not necessary, but highly, highly, highly recommended if you're going to do Mod Podge is, this one's nasty, my Mod Podge, a Mod Podge brush. Mine is like falling apart. I need a new one. You can get them where the Mod Podge is. They're like $5, $6. Totally worth the investment. It just makes Mod Podging a whole lot easier. Okay, so we're just gonna put some Mod Podge on the paper and we're gonna Mod Podge our cup. I would recommend playing around and starting with the cheaper glitters, like the ones from Walmart. And then once you're kind of good to go, switch. If you want to. No one says you have to. I prefer these. So when I sell a cup, I usually turn around and buy more cups and glitter. So that's kind of how I reinvest in what I'm doing. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. You're not gonna see my face anymore. I know you're so upset. I'm going to tilt this down, okay? There's that. I have my cup here. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to put this here, and I feel like you need to go back some more. Okay, so I've got my Mod Podge. I just gave it a little shake. So, and because I keep my glitter in bags, I have learned from some other tumbler makers, glitter in a Dixie cup. It's fabulous, it's wonderful, and I love it. So I'm gonna get myself set up here. So I've got a piece of paper that I'm gonna use under my Mod Podge, so that if I drip any Mod Podge on it, I can move this off. And then when I go to glitter, I'll put this one down so I can catch all my glitter, because I don't want to waste glitter. You can probably see the sparkles all over my desk, and then I've got glitter on my floor over here. If you could see, it's pretty terrible. I spilled my glitter the other night and I cried. So here we go, just Mod Podging away. And I'm going to squirt it on there. Then I'm going to take my cute little brush here and just start brushing it on. This brush is nice because you get nice, smooth, even strokes, even coverage. So I hope that this is staying somewhere where you can see it. So you just want to start from the bottom and go to the top, nice and even. You don't want anything like no drips, stuff like that. So I'm just going to take and kind of run this around. You want your bottom to be nice and even. So I may have put a little bit too much on there. So I'm just going to continue to kind of work it. Make sure it's nice and even here. I'm going to swipe right here around my edge where I've got this buildup. And I'm going to call it a day. You will realize very quickly if you've got too much Mod Podge in one spot, because you will get clumps in really weird parts of your glitter. So what I'm gonna do is now I just start sprinkling. So I'm gonna sprinkle the bottom first. And then I'm gonna sprinkle the top. With Mod Podge, you do have to work a little bit quickly. The edges will dry before anything else. And then I'm just going to go down and sprinkle away. And then as my cup runs out, I will pick my paper up, dump it back into my cup, and keep going. Woo! That was a lot of glitter. So you want to make sure that you get really good coverage everywhere. And see, I got to do it again because I like that first little dump was, that first sprinkle was not quite a sprinkle. So with the cup, it's nice because you can fold it and you can kind of direct where you want it to go. I'm going to get my bottom, my butt again. It looks like I knocked a place or two there, so we'll just redo that. And there it is. All nice and glittered. So then what I do is I'll either take a pair of scissors or something like that. I've got this handy dandy screwdriver. I will hold it over my paper and just tap, 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 tap. Okay. I will even sometimes hit the rim of my cup very carefully because I don't want my cup like falling off. Okay. Normally with Mod Podge, if you don't base coat, you will find that your glitter does not get good coverage. Okay. So that is why I do a base coat. So now this just has to dry. And again, I hit it. I have a little stand that I put my cups on. You don't need a stand. You can just put it right on your turner and just let it sit there and dry for a few minutes. And see, right here, it looks like I don't have great coverage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit of Mod Podge. And this is like the lightest that I can brush. I mean, like super duper light. With just a little bit of excess that's left on my brush. I'm just gonna go and find some of the bare spots. This is super, super, super light. And then I'm just gonna take where I did that and I'm just gonna go back in and sprinkle, sprinkle. This is probably where I didn't Mod Podge, or where I Mod Podged around the edge and then didn't go back soon enough and epoxy. So there's my cup all glittered and epoxied, or not epoxied, but all glittered. Now I sit and I wait. And I wait, because this has got to dry. I have a little heat gun. It's just a hot air gun. So that's pretty much it for just one color, a single color. What I am going to do is I'm going to ombre this cup. So I'm going to take my next color. So with this method of ombreing, you want to ombre with your lightest color first. And you would do the same if you were doing 2 colors, 3 colors, whatever. It does not matter. It's just that your areas where, you would do your whole cup with your lightest color and then use this method for your second color. So here is my second color. It's called Merlot. It's this real pretty burgundy color. Okay. So, I have it in my cup. Make sure that this is dry. If this isn't dry, I'm gonna have, you know, issues. I won't be happy. Okay, so I'm gonna tilt you back down again. Okay, so here you see I still have my Mod Podge and my Mod Podge brush. It's kind of sitting in a little pile of Mod Podge so that it doesn't dry out. Okay, so I'm gonna get some more Mod Podge on my paper. And I probably don't need that much, but that's what we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is tilt you back up a little bit because that's a little low. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the bottom, and I'm going to paint this Mod Podge all over the bottom. Now, since this already has glitter on it, it will, you will need more Mod Podge to cover it. The glitter will hold on to that Mod Podge and it won't dry as quickly. So this is what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna start brushing, and I'm gonna be kind of thick and generous down here at the bottom, okay? And then as I go up, I'm just gonna lightly feather it out, okay? So that as I'm pulling down, that and I'm probably not even, I'm just, you can see how as I get down here, it's like I'm just dragging what I have down the cup, and it's very light. I'm gonna go a little bit further than I want my ombre to go, okay? But it's gonna be very, very light. So that was almost the perfect amount of Mod Podge. So I'm just gonna go and make sure that my bottom rim is good and I'm not like, got drips everywhere. Then I'm gonna get my glitter paper. Maybe just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sprinkle the bottom with this gorgeous color. And then I'm gonna get right around this rim here. I'm gonna go pretty heavy right around the rim. Okay. And then I'm gonna hold my cup with my glitter in it way up. And it's probably gonna be out of frame. I don't think I can get both of these at the same time. So I'm gonna tilt my cup and then I'm gonna start sprinkling. I'm just gonna tap, 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 tap. So my glitter is going to fall on my cup and it's gonna fan out. Tap, 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 tap. I'm not tapping a lot. A lot's not coming out. It's just falling nice and naturally. Okay, and then I'm gonna move up a little bit higher and move down just a little bit on my cup. Okay, knock some of that off. Look, I need a little extra there. Okay, we're up real high again. And I'm gonna try and make my ombre go to about the same level all the way around the cup. I don't want it too high. I just kind of want it in the same place all around the cup. So I'm gonna take and look. Another thing you can do is dump some on, maybe a little bit too much, and just let it fall. Dump some on, let it fall. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Then I'm gonna look around my cup. I'm gonna dump some more on and let it fall. I'm gonna Dump some more on. And just kind of just keep working my way around the cup. Hope I don't get up too high. And see, I got up a little bit too high, but that's okay. That's okay. It's all good, because I can put a decal there. And that's it. Looks like ocean waves, doesn't it? So that's pretty much it for the ombre. As you can see, I'm still working on mine. I don't do a lot of ombres. But I try. I always feel like my ombres are not adequate. And I am running out of glitter. Tap, tap, tap. And then there's my cup. So, and down here you can still see some of the gold coming through. And you can see some of the Merlot in my gold. So it's not, oh my. I didn't get the bottom real good. I'm just gonna dunk it down in there. Like, I still didn't get it, so I'm gonna scoop. Put that on there, tap it down. Let's see if I got it that time. I got it. So a lot of times, if you see little spots that you haven't gotten, just take and, there we go. Give that a little tap and hope that not all of it comes off. So that's pretty good. I'm also put a logo on the bottom of my cups, so it will hide that. So now I'm gonna let that dry. You can go from start to finish on a cup in 30 minutes, whereas if I had used epoxy to glitter this cup, it would have taken a lot longer because I would have had to sit and wait for my epoxy to dry before moving on to the next one. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just going to kind of gently put some Mod Podge on here. And even though my Mod Podge looks white, it will dry clear. Okay. And I'm just going to keep brushing down because I've got all this maroon on my brushy brush now. Because I did not let it dry, so let this be a lesson to you, lesson learned. It'll be all right though. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take and sprinkle a few of these little leaves on there. What I'm going to do is take and clean off my paper. And we lost some leaves, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna sprinkle me some leaves on here, like little falling leaves. And you know, take your time, don't rush, because then you end up with like, you know, 600 leaves all over your cup when you only wanted a few. Shaped glitter is a lot of fun. Screw this up. So there you go. Fall cup. Now, you can still see the white of the Mod Podge. It's okay. It will dry. There you go. It's starting to dry. I hit it with a little bit of heat. So it's better. So all my little leaves will stay on there. And then what I will do is I will take some Rust-Oleum clear coat. Rust-Oleum 2 times, I use the matte clear to seal this because now that I've got it all pretty and the way I want it, I don't want my glitter going anywhere. So if you spray seal it, it will take and seal everything in. It's not going to move anywhere. And when you go to epoxy it, if I was to just go and epoxy this, my glitter would be like, I'd have all my maroon up here and I'd have all my gold down here. It would just be everywhere. My leaves would be gone. I'll do that before I epoxy. So this video has probably bored you to tears, but that is Mod Podge ombre. And you don't have to do an ombre. You can stop at the single color. I could have stopped at the single color and been done and put something real pretty on it, some real pretty, like somebody's name all down the back, and a saying on the front or whatever. But just know that you do have options. So it doesn't have to be, you know, and it's something that you can try. It's not something that you have to, you know, it's fun to experiment with it. There's my finished cup. We'll move it over here where it's in the light and you can see, and it's all sparkly and pretty, and I'm going to try and hold it still. So there's my butt, my bottom of my cup. And then there's my ombre, all with Mod Podge. And it didn't take long. I will let this dry overnight before I ever start to epoxy it. And that is how you glitter a cup. So I hope this helps get you started. And then I will do another video for epoxy and the first and second coats, and then everything else that we do to get this cup finished.